Manchester United signed their first player of the summer transfer window. Official approaches for Leny, Yoro and Trevor Chalobah, and all of the latest on the managerial situation at Manchester United. These are just some of the stories we will be chatting about on this evening's show. But before we get into that, please smash a like on this evening's video. Let's try and see 200 likes on tonight's show. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel as well. I will be live throughout the whole of the transfer window. I'll have a video for you in the morning, a video for you in the evening, and if anything breaks during the day, I go live as well. So if you want to keep up to date with all of the latest Manchester United transfer news and talk, make sure you get involved here on Daily Red Devil. Right, so much to get into on the show this evening. Obviously, the transfer window is just about to open, but deals are now starting to happen. Teams are making their approaches. They're starting to get deals over the line. Players can't officially register for their new clubs until June the 14th, but we are expecting a massive flurry of activity in the next couple of weeks. And then obviously, as soon as June the 14th comes, the transfer window officially opens and players will sign the contract. So at the moment, there's a lot of deals in principle being signed. There's a lot of verbal agreements being made, and that's what we'll be mainly talking about today. So let's focus on the centre-back situation first then, shall we? Because I think centre-back is probably the most important position this summer. Obviously, Varane's going. Lindelof's probably going to be going. Johnny Evans is going. Maguire, I don't think is going anywhere, but we're only going to have maybe 2 or 3 centre-backs left. We'll have Willy Camboala, Martinez and Maguire probably. Those will be our 3 centre-backs. So realistically, we need to sign at least 2 more, in my opinion. So we're going to get into that on tonight's show because there is lots and lots of stories around the centre-back position. So let's start off with Leny Yoro, a player we've been linked to heavily over the last couple of weeks, a player who is apparently really admired by Real Madrid, 18 years of age, currently plays his football in the French league for Lille. He looks like the real deal. He really, really does. He's already in the French national team at the age of 18, which is absolutely crazy. He broke through into the Lille team 2 seasons ago, came through their youth system. He is a right-footed centre-back, very, very strong, very, very fast. And the reason why he looks like he's going to be leaving the club this summer is because his contract expires next year. His contract expires, and apparently he doesn't want to sign a new contract at Lille. This should be our number 1 target, really. Now, up until this point, my understanding was that Real Madrid were apparently the number 1 most likely destination for him. But it looks like Manchester United have entered the race for this player. So this story is coming out from an account on Twitter. He's a journalist called United Muppeteers. Has some pretty good stories around the club. I think he gets quite a lot of information from Manchester United directly. And he is reporting this evening that Manchester United are now actively looking at signing Lille centre-back Leny Yoro. So this is definitely one to keep an eye on. Obviously, Jim Ratcliffe and Nice being in Ligue 1, obviously they pay a close attention to players in that league. Obviously, we've been linked to Fofana as well, the CDM, who plays for Monaco. Would I like to see Leny Yoro? Yes, I think he'd be a quality player. But the only issue I have with him is he is only 18. He's still very, very young. And I'm not sure whether he's ready to come to the Premier League and be starting every single game for Man United. For me, he's a player for the future. I think he's maybe a 20, 30 million pound signing. But you would also need to go and get a Jean-Claire Todibo as well. You know, you go and get Todibo for, I think he's valued at 40 million euros. Maybe you get Leny Yoro for 30 million euros. That's 70 million euros, which is about 60 million pounds. That's 2 centre-backs. And if you do that, you're sorted for the next 10 years. Yoro's only 18. He could literally be our centre-back for the next 10, 15 years. And I think Todibo is 22 or 23. He's 24. Okay. So they're still very, very young. They still meet the age profile. And I think they would both be massive coups for Manchester United. Now, I want you guys to let me know. There's a poll running live on the show at the moment, which you can get involved in. And the question is this: who should Manchester United sign as the main starting centre-back this summer? So we've got 3 options. We've got Leny Yoro, Jared Brathwaite from Everton, and Jean-Claire Todibo from Nice. Anybody who's watching this back on repeat, you can get in the comment section. Let me know who you think Manchester United should sign this summer in the centre-back position. My preference would probably be either Jean-Claire Todibo and Leny Yoro, if we could do both of them, or Jean-Claire Todibo and Tosin as a free agent. That would be my preference. We need 2 centre-backs. We need to be able to equip ourselves so we can let Lindelof be sold. Johnny Evans is going to leave on a free, and Varane's going to leave on a free. That's 3 centre-backs who are going to be going. So we need to bring in at least 2 more centre-backs, minimum. When you think of the injury crisis we've had at centre-back this season, you could even argue that letting 3 centre-backs go and only bringing in 2 is a bit of a risk. But I think that's probably what Man United are going to look to do, to buy one big name centre-back, whether that's Brathwaite, Todibo, or Leny Yoro, and then maybe bring in someone like Tosin as a free agent. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Obviously, as I said, get involved in the comment section. Let me know what centre-back you want Manchester United to sign this summer. Keeping on the topic of centre-backs, let's talk a little bit about Trevor Chalobah then. This story just doesn't seem to be going away. We spoke about it on the show this morning, and I kind of brushed it under the carpet a little bit, thinking, are we really going to go for Trevor Chalobah? But there are more and more stories coming out this evening that apparently Manchester United have already opened talks with Chelsea about signing Trevor Chalobah. Apparently they are actually in conversation at the moment. Chelsea are asking for £25 million for Trevor Chalobah, which I personally think is crazy. I think that's way too much money. I don't think he's very good. I'm sorry. I don't think Tosin's any worse, and Tosin's available for nothing and he's about the same age. It doesn't really make sense to me. I don't get it. But the more I read into this story and the more, I see what other journalists are saying, and this is going to probably make it all add up. Apparently, Poch and Thomas Tuchel really, really like Trevor Chalobah. So a lot of these journalists are saying, okay, Trevor Chalobah's name's just come out of nowhere. We've never been linked to him before. We've never expressed an interest in him before. And suddenly we're heavily linked to him. There's reliable journalists saying that Manchester United are in talks with Chelsea about signing Trevor Chalobah. This makes me wonder, does that mean that either Thomas Tuchel or Poch are coming in? Because they are known admirers of Trevor Chalobah. I don't know. I have a feeling that if one of those 2 managers comes in, we will definitely sign Trevor Chalobah. That would be my prediction, because all of the stories are pointing towards that happening, that, if Poch or Tuchel comes in, Trevor Chalobah will become a Manchester United player. £25 million is the fee that's being mentioned. I personally think that is ridiculous money. I'm sorry. I don't think he's that good. I know he's still young. I know he potentially could improve, but let's be honest, Chelsea aren't any better than us at the moment. And the fact that Chelsea don't want him and are willing to listen to offers to him kind of sums it up for me. Like, he's not better than Martinez. Is he better than Lindelof? I'm not sure. I mean, he's younger, so I guess he has that advantage over him. But yeah, I don't know. I would even go as far as saying I would rather keep Maguire than sign Trevor Chalobah, to be honest, because you're probably not going to get more than 25, 30 million for Maguire. So what? You sell Maguire and then you go and spend that money on Chalobah? It doesn't make any sense to me. I think Maguire is a better centre-back than Chalobah, personally. And the only reason that this story can have any truth or any actual concrete evidence is because of the links with Poch and Thomas Tuchel, and the fact that both of those managers apparently want to sign him and are admirers of him. So we'll keep an eye on what happens with that one. But being completely honest, I really do hope we don't sign Trevor Chalobah. I would much rather get Tosin, the free agent from Fulham. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Everyone who's just joined the video, could you do me a small favour and give the video a thumbs up? Smash a like. Let's try and see 200 likes on this evening's show. And if this is your first time watching the channel, please do subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. We'll be live throughout the whole of the transfer window. We'll have a show for you in the morning, a show for you in the evening, and if anything breaks during the day, I will go live as well. So make sure you subscribe, get involved here on Daily Red Devil. We're only 10 subscribers away from 22,600, so let's see if we can hit that by the end of the video. So go and give a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Right, so we spoke about Chalobah, we've spoke about Todibo. Let's talk a little bit about the general situation around Erik ten Hag. So Samuel Luckhurst is reporting this evening. Obviously, I know a lot of people don't like Samuel Luckhurst. I agree. I think some of the stories he's put out this season have been an absolute disgrace. One in particular where he said that a dressing room source had told him that players don't want to pass the ball to Rasmus Højlund because they don't think he's very good. I mean, that was a disgusting story to put out about a 20-year-old in his first season in the Premier League. And Samuel Lutkes has actually been banned from the press conferences a couple of times this season. Anyway, he does seem to get some good information. And he is reporting this evening that some of Manchester United transfer targets are unsure if the club will advance with their interest because of uncertainty around Erik ten Hag's future. He says representatives of some targets are currently in limbo as United continue to mull over whether to continue with Ten Hag in charge. Now, this is a big problem for me. I said this to you guys on the show this morning, right? The Euro starts in 2 weeks. 2 weeks today, the Euro starts. This is the time for Man United to be going and signing players. By the time the Euro starts, we need, in my opinion, by the time the Euro starts, we need to have most of our business done. At least in relation to ingoings. We need to have a striker, a midfielder, and a centre-back. Because those are our 3 priority positions. We will 100% this summer sign a striker, a midfielder, and a centre-back. That's 100%. Any more signings will be based on player sales, right? So I understand that can happen later in the window, you know? I'm not saying that they need to sell every single player at United in the next 2 weeks, but what I am saying is we have a certain amount of money available to us, right, that we can spend now. And we need to get these deals in place. Because as soon as the Euro starts, these players' focus is going to be on the Euros. And the Euros goes on for a month until mid-July. The 14th of July it ends. And then literally a week or two later, pre-season tour starts. So it does really, really worry me and frustrate me that the Erik ten Hag story is dragging out and out and out. And it's clearly having a ripple effect on our transfer business because of players effectively looking at Man United and being like, well, I'm interested in coming to Manchester United, but who's going to be the new manager? Or is there going to be a new manager? Is Erik ten Hag staying? And, you know, the agents will be having these conversations with Ineos, and Ineos will say, oh, well, unfortunately, we can't tell you that at the moment. Imagine if you're a player, right, and you've got 3 or 4 different clubs wanting to sign you. You've got Man United, the biggest and best club in the world, right? But they don't know who the manager is. They don't know what the style of play is going to be. They haven't got a director of football. The CEO hasn't started yet. They've just won a trophy and the manager might be sacked. And you're looking at it going, that doesn't seem like a very stable club to go and get involved in, especially if you're a young player. You know, if you're somebody like Leny Yoro, right, 18 years of age, and you're looking at the situation at Man United, I'll be honest, I'm going to look at it and say it looks like a complete mess. I know that in the future we are striding in the right direction, you know, to sort out everything, to get the right people in the right departments and stuff. But at the moment, I don't think Man United is a particularly attractive proposal if you're a footballer, other than the fact that we'll pay people stupid money. And the story coming out of the club is that Jim Ratcliffe's not going to pay stupid money anymore. So it's difficult. And we really, really need to push this over the line, because the longer this drags on, the more time that's going to be wasted. You know, in a normal season, when you don't have an international tournament, you could wait a month before you start signing players. But as I said, the Euros literally starts in 2 weeks, right? We need to, in my opinion, whether you can disagree with this is obviously completely fine, but in my opinion, Manchester United need to have their striker, their centre midfielder, and a centre back within the next 2 weeks. I know obviously they can't sign the contract until the 14th of June, but we need to at least know that the deal have been agreed. Because otherwise it's the same as every single season, where we wait until the end of the transfer window and then we get stung. At the beginning of the transfer window, Leny Yoro might be worth 20 million, right? If we wait 2 months, they'll probably say we want 60 million. The same with Todibo. The same with Youssouf Fofana from Monaco. You know, if we don't go and sign these people now, they'll go to other clubs. Or other clubs will buy them. And we'll be sat here sat on our hands saying, oh, we didn't know who the new manager was going to be. Oh, we've been doing a strategic review for the last 6 months. It's not good. It's not good. And we really, really need clarity on this Ten Hag situation. We needed it a week ago, really, didn't we? But we are where we are. The stories around the club at the moment is this. Apparently Jean-Claude Blanc and Jim Ratcliffe want Erik ten Hag to stay. But apparently Sir Dave Brailsford doesn't want him to stay. And there's apparently a standoff, with some of the Ineos board members wanting to back Erik ten Hag and some of them wanting to get rid of Erik ten Hag. Now, I want to remind you, right, that apparently Sir Dave Brailsford's number one manager options, his options, right, so these are the people that he liked, were Graham Potter, Thomas Frank and Gareth Southgate. Those were the people that Sir Dave Brailsford reportedly had put forward. I mean, that just says it all for me. I'm sorry. Sir Dave Brailsford, you've been a very successful person in cycling, but you've just entered the biggest football club in the world. And leaving the fans in limbo like this, it isn't acceptable. It's a disgrace. I'm sorry. It really, really is a disgrace. And I think it's sad for Erik ten Hag as well, because as Erik ten Hag said after his press conference, after the FA Cup final win, he said, you know, if they don't want me, I'll go somewhere else and win trophies. It's no problem. And I agree with him there. I think he will. So hopefully, you know, by Monday, this has been resolved. But most of the stories coming out today is saying that it's going to be late next week before we find anything out. And my gut feeling today is that they're dragging this out. They're dragging this out because they want everybody to let go of the FA Cup final win. They want everybody to forget that Erik ten Hag defied all odds and beat the best team in the world, Man City. They want people to forget about that. And then I think next week they're going to announce, you know, that maybe Erik ten Hag's gone, and then people won't be as emotionally upset, I think. I still will be. I'm not going to change after 1 week. I'm still going to feel the same. But I think some fans might be a bit more calm. You know, the Euros is going to start. They'll be like, oh, okay, it's the Euros. I don't really care. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Right, let's have a look what people are saying in the chat. I'm going to get a new poll going now. So 60% of people watching the video today want Man United to sign Jean-Claire Todibo. 16% of you want Jared Brathwaite, and 21% of you want Leny Yoro. So that's really, really interesting. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to do a poll about the manager, okay? Because I think, obviously, it's the topic of conversation. If Ten Hag, whilst I'm doing this, can everyone do me a small favour? Give the video a thumbs up, smash a like. It really helps to bring more people into the channel. It helps us to do bigger and better things in the future. So please go and give the video a like quickly. There's over 500 of you watching. Doesn't cost you any money. And if this is your first time watching, make sure you subscribe as well. I'm just going to set up a poll. So whilst I set up the poll, go and hit the like button and subscribe. And just to be clear, right, on this poll, I don't want Erik ten Hag to be sacked, but whilst we're talking about it, and I'm putting the names in here that we're linked to, so I know it's a difficult one because people don't want Erik ten Hag to be sacked, but just for the sake of, you know, play along with me here, Thomas Tuchel, Thomas Frank, Poch, or De Zerbi. And just to be clear again, guys, I want Erik ten Hag to stay at Manchester United, all right? I know that some people are not going to like having to get involved in this poll, but I want you to let me know, if Erik ten Hag is sacked, which manager do you go with? If you know, just let me know. Let's see what the poll says. Right, let's talk about this player that Man United have signed then, because this is really, really exciting. This has been confirmed by multiple different journalists today. So Manchester United have signed a right back. His name's James Overy. I'll be honest, before about an hour ago, I hadn't heard of this guy, but I spoke to a few people and I've been watching some videos and stuff. And apparently he's somebody who's been scouted for a very, very long time. A lot of clubs were looking to sign him. Apparently West Ham, Everton, a couple of other top clubs in the Premier League as well were trying to get him this summer. And it looks like he will be coming to Manchester United. He's Australian. He currently plays football in the Australian League, which I know isn't particularly high level, but he is going to be moving over to Manchester United. He is going to initially be, I think, kind of like on a fringe player, so like somebody who's in between the under-21s and the first team. He can play as a right back and he can play as a right winger. He looks really, really good. His name's James Overy. He's just turned 17, actually. Sorry, he's just turned 17. I think he's someone definitely more for the future, but there is definitely a pattern happening at the moment where Ineos are bringing in a lot of young players who, what I'm being told, they're hoping can break into the first team in the next kind of 1 or 2 years. So that's the person we've just signed today. Yeah. All right, let's see. Some people in the chat are saying they don't want to vote in the poll. That's fine. If you don't want to vote in the poll, that's completely fine. I know it was a nasty poll for me to set up. I think 85% of people who watch this channel want Erik ten Hag to stay. So I get it. It's a difficult one. You know, I'm making you answer a really, really tough question. And you know what? I can't make you answer it without answering it myself. So I'm going to ask the question back to myself. The question I'm asking you all is this. If Erik ten Hag is sacked, who is your favourite choice to replace him? Again, I don't want Erik ten Hag to be sacked, but we've got to have this conversation. So I would go with... I'm going to break it down for you, okay? For short-term success, as in winning trophies next season, I think Thomas Tuchel is the best option. Because I think Thomas Tuchel will come in and we probably will win something next year. We probably will win the Europa League. But I think we'll win the Europa League with Erik ten Hag next season. So it's not anything better for me. But just for argument's sake, all right? The scenario we're painting here is a hypothetical one. Erik ten Hag is gone. Who do we want to be the new manager? Okay, I know it's difficult. I know a lot of people don't want to have these conversations. But yeah, I would say Thomas Tuchel. If we want to guarantee winning stuff next season, I think Thomas Tuchel is the best manager. Okay, but I don't think Thomas Tuchel is a manager for a bigger project. I think he'll probably be gone in 2 years. If we want a manager for a project, I would probably go with De Zerbi. But I would say De Zerbi's a massive risk because he's won nothing. He did well at Brighton in his first season and then did terribly at Brighton. Or not terribly, but not very good at Brighton in his second season. We've got a super chat coming in from Alex. Thank you for your support, mate. Alex says, only Tuchel could do better with this squad. Erik ten Hag in. I agree with you, mate. And I'll be honest with you, Alex. I personally don't think Tuchel would do better. I think he would kind of just do the same. I think we'd probably win the Europa, but I think Erik ten Hag would win the Europa. Does that make sense? I think we'll be battling for top 4 with Tuchel, but... I think we'll be battling for top 4 with Ten Hag. I think we'll win the Europa with Ten Hag, and I think we'll win the Europa with Thomas Tuchel. Whereas Thomas Frank, Poch, and De Zerbi, I would say it's 50-50. We could either be incredible or we could be 8th and knocked out of the Europa in the group stage. You know, like I feel like there's that much uncertainty. Whereas at least with Thomas Tuchel, you know, he does well in the Champions League. He's won a Champions League before. He has a lot of experience. He's managed with top clubs and top players. And you kind of expect he'd come in and do pretty well. But still, I don't think he's a better manager for a project than Erik ten Hag. I think Thomas Tuchel, for me, is more suited for international football now. More for like, you know, competitions, cup competitions, Champions Leagues, Euros, World Cups. I think, you know, for a 38-game season with injuries and problems and players falling out and stuff, I think Thomas Tuchel isn't really a particularly good manager anymore. But that's just my opinion. Lila says, Ten Hag is better than all of the coaches that are on the poll. I agree with you, mate. I do. I agree. And I just wanted to ask a difficult question because most people are so focused on Erik ten Hag, right? But unfortunately, we do have to have these conversations because if, at the moment, as I said, it's apparently 50-50 between the Ineos board. Some of them want him to stay and some of them want them to go, right? So I think it's only fair that we have these conversations and we start at least looking at the worst case scenario where Erik ten Hag could go and, you know, who that new manager could be. But we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Right, well, so we got... Leela says, why isn't Xavi an option? Unlike De Zerbi, he's actually won a trophy. I think Xavi is an option, but apparently Xavi doesn't want to go straight back into management. That's what I've been hearing. He wants to have a bit of a break. So Xavi, ex-Barcelona manager, is probably better than Thomas Frank. It's probably better than De Zerbi. It's probably better than Poch, but apparently he doesn't want to join another club immediately. Although, if Man United come knocking, do you really think Xavi's going to turn it down? I personally would still rather keep Ten Hag than Xavi. I don't think Xavi's that good of a manager personally, but he is better than all the other people we're linked to. Yeah, lots of people in the chat saying, what about Xavi? Yeah, it's an option. We'll have to wait and see. But the story I read this morning is that apparently Xavi doesn't want to get straight back into management. He wants a bit of a break. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Xavi. But I would say it's very unlikely that that Xavi will come to Manchester United. But you never know in football. I'm going to have a quick look at the odds actually on the bookies because that's always interesting. So at the moment, as of recording this video on Friday the 31st of May, the current favourite with the bookies is Poch. And you know what? We've just spoke about Trevor Chalobah. We've spoke about Man United apparently in talks with Chelsea for Trevor Chalobah. Trevor Chalobah and Erik ten Hag doesn't make any sense. We know that Erik ten Hag wanted Todibo. We know that Erik ten Hag wanted Kim Min-jae and all these other people. We've never heard the name Trevor Chalobah and Erik ten Hag in the same conversation. Whereas Mauricio Pochettino is a massive admirer of Trevor Chalobah. And we know that that's the only reason that we'd be talking to Trevor Chalobah's agent, I think. You know, it's not like he's a free agent and there's loads of clubs circling for him. We're still going to have to pay 25, 30 million. And as I said, the bookies today here in England have got Poch as the odds-on favourite to become the Manchester United manager. And he's favourite by a long way. Like Thomas Tuchel, De Zerbi, Gareth Southgate are pretty low down in the odds. So we'll wait and see what happens for that one. Big ups to Tristan Millwood, who's been a member of the Daily Red Devil Members Club for 7 months. Thank you for all your support, my friend. If you do want to join the Members Club, hit the $sign. You get a little badge next to your name. Only costs 99p. So if you are in a position to do it, it really helps the channel. It will help me to do bigger and better things in the future. So please do that if you can. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I will be back live tomorrow. On the weekends, going forward, the videos are going to be at an earlier time, okay? I hope that's all right for people, but I'm going to be doing my videos at 8 a.m. in the morning going forward on the weekends. Weekdays, it will be 11. Weekends, it will be 8 a.m. So 8 a.m. tomorrow, I will be here for a live show. Make sure you smash the like button before you go. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. This has been Daily Red Devil. Have a lovely Friday, whatever you're doing, and I'll speak to you all at 8 a.m. UK time tomorrow.